support. And the third instance is the companies that are in the DRC area. These would have to refer any disputes arising before the DRC. Right? The federal court excludes Abu Dhabi, Ras Al Khaimah, and Dubai. Okay? The federal court only includes Ajman, Qawain, Fujairah, and Sharjah. Okay? And basically, in these four emirates, a claim can reach only the appeal court stage. Anything above that, any of the parties wants to raise the matter before the Supreme Court, these four emirates don't have a Supreme Court in the emirates. So they have to forward it to the federal court, which is located in Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and Ras Al Khaimah, they have their own cassation court or Supreme Court. Alright? Next, the court stages, I'm sure you're familiar. There's the court of first instance stage, the appeal court stage, and the court of cassation. For most of the court of first instance stage, after a judgment is rendered, there will be a 30-day period where the parties have the right to appeal the judgment before the appeal court. Except in the rental and the criminal court, it's a 15-day period. Once the judgment is rendered at the appeal court stage, the parties will have the right to submit their appeal before the court of cassation within 60 days, and the rental and criminal court within 30 days. Okay, 30 days from the date when the judgment was first pronounced. Okay. Then we have the execution court, which will deal with them. These are the three court stages. One more thing, the court of first instance stage, there will always be one judge presiding over the hearing. At the appeal court stage, there will be 3 judges, and in the court of cassation stage, there will be 5 judges, a panel of 5 judges. Right? For all decisions at the appeal court and court of cassation stage, it has to be by majority decision, except in the criminal court, and specifically when an innocence judgment is in the court of first instance, the only way that an innocent judgment can be overturned, okay, is through unanimous decision. That's the only time when unanimous decision is required. Okay? The execution court. All right. So the execution court is the court that has the authority to enforce judgments. Okay? The other courts only have the authority to look into the subject and adjudicate and to issue a decision. The execution court will enforce the judgments, and usually it will be once a final judgment is issued. A final judgment is issued in the following instances. Either the court judgment is issued at the court of first instance stage, and the parties opt not to appeal the decision. The 30-day period is up. This becomes a final judgment. The appeal court stage is the same thing. Okay? And once the decision is issued at the court of cassation stage, it's a final judgment. So you can immediately forward the matter and open an execution file before the execution court in order to enforce the judgment. Okay? There's another instance when once the case is at the appeal court stage, the party that won the case at the court of first instance, it can open the execution file, and the other party can challenge this. So it can be open, the execution file can be opened once the final judgment is rendered, or once it reaches the appeal court stage. Okay, but at the appeal court stage, it can be challenged. Okay, so the execution court, once it will notify the party, it will dispatch one of its bailiffs and to the address of the defendant, and it will officially notify them that you have to pay so and so amount. Okay, and if it's not an amount, whatever the judgment is, that you have to pay a certain amount. It will calculate any legal interest that accrued over the period of time before the judgment was issued. Okay. So it gives the party, the defendant, 15 days to make this payment. In the event that there's a failure by the defendant to make this payment, it is the execution court that has the authority to initiate the attachment procedures. Okay? To initiate the attachment procedures, the execution court will communicate with all of the authorities in the UAE. The central bank, the securities market for any shares, the central bank for any bank accounts that they have, the traffic department for any vehicles, and the traffic department for vehicles, the central bank, these are the main ones. The securities market,
Land department.
and the land department for any property that they have registered under their name. Okay? Once the execution court locates the assets of the defendant, it will now begin the attachment procedures on these assets. Right? It will issue attachment orders against the assets, and then once this is done, it will begin the process to auction off all of the assets. The proceeds from the auction will be used to settle the adjudged amount. This is a very lengthy process. It's a very complex process. Very high level of communication is required between the execution court and all of these departments. The auctioning process can even take longer. We're talking about if it reaches all the way to this, it will take years before any proceeds can be used to settle the adjudged amount. Okay, the execution court can also, at its own discretion, without necessarily obtaining the permission of the plaintiff, can require payment to be made in installments. Okay, so that's another thing that it can do at its sole discretion. It will ask for the permission of the plaintiff. Sometimes it's a huge amount, and it's clear that the defendant doesn't have this amount at the moment. So it will ask to make payment installments for 12 months, sometimes even 36 months. All right? It will always ask the plaintiff for his permission, and in some cases, even if it doesn't receive the permission, it will give this permission. Okay? That's the execution. Okay, so the litigation process, the sequence of process, we had a handout, we'll send it to you later by email, which will map out the very basic or the bones, the sequence of events up until, from when a claim is filed until a judgment is rendered. So the first step is that the claim will be filed online, okay, through the court's official website. After that, there will be the first hearing where they will issue the notification procedures. Right? So previously, the method was to dispatch the bailiff the first time to the address, assuming that the bailiff, and this is why they passed new regulations, because a lot of times people would resist receiving the notification from the court bailiff. So the procedure dictates that the next step is to dispatch the court bailiff again. This will be within 2 weeks to 1 month, so a lot of time is wasted. And after the second time, again, they can refuse to receive it, or the address is not there, the address changed. And the third time, the court will issue notification through newspaper publication. Okay? This was how it was for a very long time. They realized that all of the lawyers were doing a lot of delayed tactics, wasting a lot of time for the court and a lot of money. So they passed new regulations now, which isn't very clear, but basically it states that modern means could be used to complete the notification. This will include fax, email, and even text messages. They're starting to implement this now. The next step, so assuming that the opponent or the defendant receives the notification, they'll attend the first hearing or the second hearing. During the second hearing, they will issue the response to the claim petition that was submitted by the plaintiff. Right? After that, there will be another hearing, okay, for the submission of evidence to back up each party's claims. Okay? That's the third hearing. The fourth hearing could be for two reasons, either for final judgment or for judgment, or for a preliminary judgment. A preliminary judgment to assign an expert to examine the case and render its report. Right? Assuming that we reach to the expert stage, the expert will hold internal meetings in their office, they will invite the parties, they'll submit their evidence, they'll submit everything, and finally they'll render the report. They'll submit the report to the court, Once they submit their report to the court, there will be another hearing. During this hearing, the parties will comment on the report, and the hearing after that will be reserved most likely for the judge. So that's the bones of the sequence from beginning to end. Other things can come up along the way, but we don't want to go too much into detail. Okay. Now we want to talk about, this is the second segment, now we want to talk about the inner workings of the litigation department. So we all work in the same firm. However, for some people, it might not be very clear exactly the process, the day-to-day process that takes place in the litigation department. At this very moment, and at all times during the week, there's a continuous process that's taking place all of the time. This process is very intricate, very complex, and requires a high level of coordination between all of the team members that work in the office. Right? So I'm going to give you a very short example of when a client comes into the office. So a client will come into the office, meet with Mr. Asif, okay? And the client will decide to solicit our services in lodging their claim before the court. Asif will give them the advice, they'll talk about the fees, they'll agree on the framework of what our service should be. After that, he will take the file, she'll open the file internally, and pass it over to Rushdie. Rushdie, in turn, will compile all the relevant documentation into a file, okay, and send it over to Abdulaziz. Right? Abdulaziz will then ensure that all the documents are available. This includes our power of attorney, the documents that we notify the claim, that they're all legally translated. Rushdie will handle the translation part. Once all the documents are in place, we lodge the claim on the court's official register online. Right? Once that takes place, the court has a 3-stage verification procedure to check that all the documents are in order and everything. This can take 5 days up to 100 years, depending on the court. The court will eventually come back to us and give us a short code for the case and a first hearing date. Abdulaziz will then bring this information to Samah. From this point onwards, Samah plays a very critical role in the firm. Okay? One of the most important roles when it comes to coordination between all of the team members. Samah will receive this information and she'll send an email to the lawyer in charge, Asif, that on so and so date the first hearing will take place. Nearer the time, she'll send him another reminder. Okay? And after that, Asif will prepare the
everyday reminder for us.
Once he prepares the memo, he completes it, he sends it to Amin. Amin will type it up and check that everything is correct in the ground, send it back to Asif for final approval. Once Asif gets he gives the final approval, he'll send it back to Samah. Samah will now put it on her schedule and assign one of the court advocates for the specific court to take the memo so that they can attend during the hearing. They can submit the memo and whatever requests that Asif wants to make to the court will be included there. All the accompanying documentation, everything will be there. The court advocate will attend the court on the day, attend the hearing, submit the document, and make any requests and cite any defense or anything that Asif has instructed to do so. At the same time, you collect anything from the court. So it could be that the opponent or the defendant or whatever, the other side is submitting documents or money. They collect this money, bring it back to the office. Once they bring it back to the office, they send an email or Samah will receive it, scan it, put it in the system, and she'll send it to Asif. Okay? Asif will read it and decide what to do for the next year. I didn't bring it with me, but basically, every day, so now the next section is the litigation meeting. Right? So the litigation meeting, I'm sure you've realized every day at 4:30 there's a circus and everybody is moving around.
اجتماع حضرات.
This is how Asif's beliefs. He has a conviction about this meeting. He's particularly insensitive. Even one of us doesn't appear in this meeting, and it's very important. Sha'ban is the one who heads the meeting will all come over to the office over here, and we receive another document from Samah, and an email. The document that we received from Samah is in Arabic, and it will basically have the lawyer in charge of the case, or the client, the case number, what type of court it's in, what happened in the previous hearing, why it was adjourned for today's hearing, and the last list will be what transpired in the hearing of today, right? So this paper has minimum 15 cases a day and up to 25 cases per day, right? So what I told you about what Samah and what everybody does, it's taking place 25 times per day, continuously for different courts and for different cases. Why do we have this meeting? At first, I used to shuffle my feet to come to the meeting. I couldn't understand why it was so important. But over time, I've become to understand exactly why Asim deems it absolutely necessary that this meeting takes place today. He'll walk out of the meeting, he'll come in, Shaban will leave the meeting or postpone the meeting, we'll keep the clients waiting until this meeting takes place. Right? This is the secret weapon of PSA, and this is what sets us apart from all the other law firms in the world. Right? And I'll explain why. So in another law firm, each lawyer is sitting alone at his desk. The court advocates will come back to the office and they tell him, this is what happened in your case. This is why it was adjourned, thank you very much, and they leave. Nobody knows what's going on with the other cases in the office, right? Whereas with us, the ultimate benefactor of this meeting that we hold, to go back. So in the other firms, the client is subjected to one legal viewpoint, maximum two. All right? And if you know lawyers, there's two lawyers, there's three ideas how to challenge or to a strategy in the case. So we sit here, we're about 25 people, I think, for 30. And we start to read each case, what happened on the day of the case. Right? And we start to discuss in detail what happened in this case, why did this happen in this case, why we won over here, what was the legal rationale of the judge or whatever for passing such a decision, why we lost this case. Right? Therefore, the client has at least 30 lawyers working on this case. We can all say that we know every single case that everybody is working on. We're all familiar with it, and we all ask each other about it. And we all sit and we share our opinions, and a lot of times there will be a very heated debate, and it can drag on for an hour about a specific legal point, okay? And which is the best way to tackle. And usually the three main people that are deliberating about specific legal points, Hassan, Shaban, and Mr. Asim. Okay? For the rest of us, we all learn, right? And sometimes we sleep. But we do this every day. Right? So after we finish the cases of the day, we turn over and we have the next 25 cases tomorrow. So this is a never-ending thing. Okay? On Thursday we have the Sunday. The cases that are going to happen on Sunday. So we flip over the page and go tomorrow. What do we have? Okay, the cases, why it was adjourned in the last hearing, what we intend to do during this hearing, and we start to write it down. This consumes no less than half an hour every day, and when we walk out of it, all of us have learned something. All of us know what's happening in everybody's case, and why we won and why not. Another thing, as I explained to you before, when I was talking about what Samah and what all of us do here, it's a very mechanical process, right? And like anything, there could be a malfunction sometimes, here or there. But during this meeting, immediately whatever malfunction happened, we immediately sit and we discuss why it happened. This could be, it's not always on our part, it could be on the part of the court. So the court is not accepting the power of attorney for a certain reason, and we find out what the gap is and we cover this gap. Okay? So it's constantly, the litigation department is constantly evolving. I'm sorry, I didn't mention. So after all of this, we take what happened during the day, will update the client. So if you can see, I mean, everything that happens in the court, eventually the crux of everything is to reach the client. 25 times a day, we update the clients what happened in their cases, and we prepare for what we're going to say to them tomorrow. Why we lost their cases, and how we can and cover it. Okay? So that's what we do. There's another handout that should be on the desk. This will give you some facts about the litigation experience in the UAE. And if you have any questions, then you can ask.
Yes. Do each of you have a pending caseload that you'll each handle for the lifetime of the case?
So like I told you, that document that we have in Arabic, it will have so the handling lawyer is the first thing. So Azim, Shaban, Hassan, Karam, sometimes lawyers will be handling it. By handling it, we mean writing the memo. But the ideas will be all, will reach a conclusion that this is the strategy that we're going to adopt. And why we're not going to adopt the strategy that the handling lawyer had in his mind at the time. This would, they won't leave the meeting room until there's an agreement that this is the way we're going to go and we're not going to go this way. So really it's a team effort, and the decision that's coming out is a collective decision. Okay? And, but it's still, the handling lawyer will always be the handling lawyer. And the handling lawyer will in most instances be the one corresponding with the client directly, explaining to him why and why not. Does that answer your question?
And I'll follow up. About how many cases does each lawyer have at any one time?
Right. So, Shaban and Asim can have upwards 40 cases.
More than
40 cases. So, just imagine
More.
every single day.
more than 40.
More than 40.
Yeah.
Come.
كتير
Much.
كتير ده في one client يعني more than 50.
So we have sometimes
Yeah.
like the movie last year they had 30 cases.
Okay.
Averda 14 cases. Sitco 10, 15 cases. And then you have the clients from the walking science and the one right? But so it's an everyday thing. So if we have just 10 cases today, means we're lucky. And yeah, between each case, each hearing and the next hearing is 1 month. So think the next time we're going to talk about this case is 1 month. Yet we have 15, 25 every day. So you can imagine how the volume increases. It's huge. That's why we're almost a militia. For litigation in the UAE, for it to work smoothly, you need to have the manpower. And we have the manpower, and we have the brains, and we have the litigation.
In the first instance, you can describe the summary proceeding.
هينضر.
Is it a specific summary proceeding where you can, for example, request for precautionary attachment or conservatory measures like that?
You can,
on the ground?
yeah, so you can request for a precautionary attachment or the court, for instance, however, it's very hard and seldom will the court accept to issue the attachment orders at the court of first instance stage.
Is it a summary proceeding or is it a normal procedure?
It's a normal procedure you can initiate it at any time. However, you will pay 20,000
Yeah.
to request it, and it's non-refundable. So it's always better to request it at the appeal court stage when you're coming off the back of a win. So you won in the court of first instance stage. This will give your request more impetus for the judge to accept it.
The summary proceeding does exist or not?
Summary proceedings exist.
So you can get a judgment in like 15 days on certain specific matters?
Yeah, so we have the urgent matters court.
Yes.
Okay, and this will involve, in most cases, there will be an employer that's withholding the passport of one of its employees, which is illegal. So we can file a case through the urgent matters court, and within 48 hours a decision will be issued, And this decision, you take it to the police will immediately call, dispatch one of the officers to,
For example, in counterfeiting, do you have urgent like court in counterfeiting matters?
no. So
When you have to go on the merits?
yeah, so when it comes to counterfeit, these are the criminal matters. First, it has to be filed before the police. Okay? And because we're in the UAE, the police authorities, they have a lot of power, unlike any other jurisdiction. Right? So for instance, when it comes to a return check, okay, or a counterfeit matter that's very clear that something has went wrong, the police or the public prosecutor can arrest the individual immediately.
And they can do seizure for counterfeiting, for example?
The public prosecutor has the right
Original seizure?
to immediately issue orders to
So in fact, when it's criminal, you use the police as, let's say, a urgent matter court.
yeah.
Some
They're very lax when it comes to immediately arresting and taking the passport.
counterfeiting is always a criminal in the UAE, not civil?
It will always be clean.
Very good.
Okay? Any other questions?
Thank you. ما هو معتمد انه وطبعا كرم معتمد ان محدش هيصلح له حاجه من اللي بيقولها وبيقولها كلام وخلاص.
يقول لك في حد عنده سؤال وهو خايف طبعا.
ايوه